สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome back to Bin's Kitchen. This video I like to show you how I make my sourdough bread with beautiful open crumb and nice rice. This one from my starter that I feed 111 and is used when it's peak. So I have very good result for my sourdough bread. Half of the recipe I make my sourdough bunny bread and half of the recipe I make a loaf. Let's get started. I have 770 gram of water, 220 gram of starter, and I have 100 gram of whole wheat flour and 1000 gram of bread flour. I use very strong protein contents bread flour. In Thailand we have like 14% content bread flour. I use this brand because it's unbleached. And then after I put the flour, then I add the salt on top because I don't want the salt to mix with the starter directly. So basically I use my hand to mix the salt and flour together and mix it well with the water. Use my hand to try to mix wet ingredient and dry ingredient together. I'm not gonna fast forward this mixing technique because I want you guys to see how I mix the dough when it's kind of, this one is stiff dough for me. 70% is kind of stiff because we have high protein contents, but for some country they have only 12% protein content. This can be very wet dough. So okay, for Thailand it's gonna be kind of stiff. So after I mix it well, I use Robert method like this. So this technique is help to mix the dry ingredient together with wet ingredient. So when I feel the lumpy part in the dough with my finger, I can then fix it. So this is what I do after I mix the dough. So I use Robert method. You can do as long as you can if you have strength on your arm, but that's how I do. I just finish it. Now after I rest the dough for 30 minutes, the gluten had relaxed a little bit. The first mix I'm gonna use slap and fold for my sourdough bread. This time you can see from the beginning when I slap and fold until I finish slap and fold, you can see that my dough come together nicely. They become really nice and smooth and elastic. So ask me how many times I slap and fold, I can't tell you. I just feel if my dough is become nice and smooth, then I stop slap and fold. Now we're gonna rest the dough in the container and wait for 30 minutes. And this is my dough after 30 minutes. This time we're gonna use coil fold. Okay, the coil fold method, actually you pull it out in the middle and let it fall down in half and keep doing the same thing. But because of my dough is quite stiff, so this is the way I do. I just roll it up like rolling the dough and turn it around and do the same thing. Now after rest for 30 minutes, we're gonna do the third one, which is we're gonna use the same technique. I use coil fold. This dough is 70% hydration. For me, it's kind of stiff dough. So to do the coil fold or for the stiff dough is really, very difficult. Now, this is my last stretch and fold. I'm gonna use stretch and fold because this dough is quite stiff. So the way I do my stretch and fold is I stretch it out as much as I can without breaking the dough and then pull it down. Keep doing that around the container until you feel that your dough is become very tight, and then roll it up, make smooth surface, and then you let it proof for about 5 hours, and then put in the fridge for cold retard for 12 to 24 hours. This is the dough after 12 hours. It's become nice rice and very fluffy dough. I can feel that it's very light and very bubbly. So now we're gonna pre-shape our dough. This recipe actually we make 2 loaves, 2 big loaves. Each loaf is quite huge. It's about 1 kilogram. Okay. First loaf I make sourdough bunny bread, which I already show you the video. And this time I'm gonna show you how to make normal sourdough bread, but it's very big loaf. So from the same dough, I just pre-shape the dough, separate into equal part, and then I weight by my hand, my feeling is if it's same weight. So I just start to use the bench scraper to roll them up like that. You can see my dough is perfect for fermentation. So it's become very nice and bubble inside. And this is the way I pre-shape my dough. You can stretch it out like a square and fold it like a normal final shape. But sometimes I'm shaping like this if I put on the counter. So it's easy for us to shape like this. When you rest for 30 minutes and do final shape, is nice and easy and smooth dough. Okay, then I let it rest for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, look at the bubble. Bubble. Right. You see, if I see something like this in the middle, I always want to do like this. So then I can pull this part in here, pop some bubble, and this is what I'm doing. I like it to be long because we're gonna make a rabbit, remember? So we're gonna make the a little bit long shape, and then I'm gonna put into the basket like that, and I'm gonna pop the bubble, and then I'm gonna close the seam. Let it rest for about 5 minutes. So we have two beautiful dough, and then I'm gonna close the bottom of the dough. So later on, this part gonna be the head and tail of the rabbit. So we have to make sure, see, bubble. Hopefully it's not overproof. Now we're gonna put the dough in the fridge for cold retard for 12 hours. Now it's time to bake sourdough bread. This is the video I like to show you how I am open bake my sourdough bread with a single loaf. Normally I show you multiple loaf, but this time I'm going to show you the single loaf. Basically I just put parchment paper on top of the basket and use one of the cooling rack to put on top, so it's easy to flip over. And after I flip over, I just smooth out the surface with my hand, so the rice flour not in one area. And then I spray a lot of water on my dough. You ask me why I spray the water. Basically I want to achieve like a blister on my dough, but sometimes I achieve, sometimes I'm not. If I have a perfect fermentation, I have a very nice blister, but this time I'm not. So after I spray the water, I just go about 2 centimeters deep into my dough, all across the dough, not just on the top surface. I make it 45-degree angle. So, and then after that, I put into the oven that I preheat 250 degrees Celsius for half hour. You see at the bottom I have an old baking tray, and I have cookie sheet in the middle rack. So I just put the dough onto the cookie sheet. I put at the side of the oven because I know that side I have a very high heat. And then I put 1 cup of room temperature water into the old baking tray. You can use cast iron, but I use old baking tray. And after about 30 minutes, the water in the baking tray gonna be all evaporate. So you don't have to remove the tray. And what you do, you just rotate your dough or your bread for equally baked. And then you turn the temperature down. I also use non-convection function this time to normal bake at 220 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. And this is the bread after fully baked. It is so beautiful. You have nice belly, beautiful ear, and also beautiful crumb. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Then I continue baking another 30 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius. And this is the dough after baking. Beautiful. Thank you for watching.